Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name is Charles McGilvray, and I am joined, as always, by Jess Kebble and Simon Stacey. We are a Northampton Saints fans podcast, by fans, for fans, about everything to do with Northampton Saints. How are you both doing?
I'm good. How is everyone else?
Yeah. Good, thank you, mate.
Good. For those out there, if you haven't listened to our Bruce Rehana podcast yet, please listen to it. We had a hell of a lot of fun recording that, so we're really happy with how it came out. So hopefully you give it a listen and like it. You both enjoy that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was really good. I'm not going to be biased, as he's my favourite player. It was the best one we've done, I think, so far.
Yeah, exactly. There aren't many legends that would eclipse, if any, Bruce Rehana. So, yeah, it was pretty fortunate to have done that one. But how do you getting back to the current squad? How did you find the Bedford fixture, the Mobs Memorial match?
Yeah, it was okay. I feel like the absolute definition of a game of two halves. First half, just like completely out of the blocks, off we went, and then inevitable changes, which have to happen really. And the second half didn't quite live up to it, really.
No, it was good. It was good to see the boys run out, the England boys back. There's still a few things they need to work on, but I'm impressed with Josh Kemeny. He looks really good, and Mr. Pollock. He had a great game as well. He took his chances. But yeah, you could see the difference. It was chalk and cheese again, wasn't it? That's the only thing. Literally half-time changed, the game stopped when you took off Finn, George. Yeah. But that was inevitable because obviously they've only played minimal minutes and they've got to look after them for Bath. So it was good to see, but still a little bit worrying that there was a few bits where we looked a bit weak. Another few players looked injured again as well. Miller Mills was in a boot, so that's another one gone. So, yeah, fingers crossed we're all good. We're all good, though. It looked a lot better. We looked a hell of a lot better, but that was bound to happen, wasn't it? With all the England back.
That was the thing, though. Like, we said last week after the Leinster game, we were a bit concerned. There's a number of... It didn't look all that great. There wasn't a lot of fluidity in the attack. The talent just wasn't where it was, but then we said that's because they're missing a lot of the talent. That talent comes in, James, Finn, Ferbs, Dingwall. They looked quality again, and that first half an hour of the game, they just went to have that shaping attack. So they looked quick, they looked mobile, they moved the ball, those flowing moves out sort of around the back. They were too much for Bedford. The first half an hour, it looked like it was going to be a cricket score, didn't it? They were really good, but like you said, then once the changes happened, and perhaps more of the squad players came into the game, and it became a bit more stop-start with new players in and out of the fixture. It slowed down, and it became a bit, much more of a stop-start, and Bedford got a few more into the game. The two players you said there, so I thought bang on. You're right. It's Kemeny and Pollock. I thought were both pretty good. That felt sorry for Will Glister having to take that, to deal with him that wide. Yeah, I think he's gonna do a good job for us in those positions.
Yeah. That Kemeny was a standout for me, and was one of the standouts from the weekend before, from the previous game. And so hopefully he's starting as he means to go on. Because I know it's probably maybe easy to stand out when you're not playing like Leinster, who are you're not playing that Leinster, and you're playing Bedford, and that's no disrespect to Bedford because we have a great relationship with them, and they really did show up in the second half. But he really, really stood out. But it'd be interesting to see what happens when he actually gets game time in the Prem. But yeah, I mean, there was a big difference having essentially our 10 through 15, most of them coming back. I mean, Freeman had said in an interview that he did in the Village pre-match that the number of minutes meant he wasn't allowed to play, so he couldn't get on. But otherwise, we saw some of those people that we're sort of expected to see. But I also just think that that gap is supposed to be there. They're England internationals, they're the champions of England, made it to the semi-final of Europe. I think it would be weird if they weren't so far ahead of everyone else. And we also think that 5, 6, 7 years ago, they were very distinctly second best to the people that won the title beforehand, And so I don't have. I can see why maybe some people are worried about talent levels or whatever, but we've already been through this before. Like 10 years ago, I think we mentioned George Furbank was in the stands watching. Now he's the captain. Like there's plenty of time for growth, and all of those players that we said, they were kind of probably second and third choices to some huge names that we've had for the club, and now they are the huge names. So I have no doubts that some of those people that we've seen are going to be able to make that step up. It just isn't their time yet, and they've still got plenty of time to develop. So no, I'd find it weird if there wasn't such a big gap between them, to be honest. It's kind of meant to be when, like you said, we've got multiple England internationals, a team that have been playing together for a really long time, like a very stable backline in particular. They're head and shoulders above the rest of the Premiership, let alone the rest of the people in their own squad.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I agree. I'm not really concerned that, we get our first choice team out there. I think we've got building blocks of obviously a champion side. Over the course of the season, when you get rotation, you get different players in. Are we where we are? I don't think we are. But we've still got something. We'll still be more than a match for Bath on Friday, I think. My only real concern from the pre-season that's been consistently worrying throughout the two games was our maul defence. Leinster went through us like we weren't there, and then Bedford really challenged us there as well, and they got a pushover try. There's a few players who have gone missing, like Moon, big example of someone who was tremendous in that space. And it is a fundamental part of the game, because if you give a penalty, if your maul defence isn't strong enough, you know that any penalty given away on the halfway line is going to the corner, and you're under a lot of stuck, and tries win games. So if you can't give away 3 penalties on the halfway line, it could be 3 tries, and it puts you under a lot of pressure. So that's my only real concern.
I did notice a bit more of a concerted effort to actually to give it a go, though. Like, we did get a few turnovers throughout. We did the week before as well. Whereas something I noticed about us last season is there'd be some games where we didn't even try, and I couldn't really figure out why. But there were games where we weren't even trying to get anyone over the ball. And so it's good on one hand to see an attempt, because I felt like that was sorely missing from some of what we did last year. Like, we would just see players go in, tackle, and then just completely remove themselves from the breakdown. And I always used to be like, why aren't we at least giving it a go? So I feel like perhaps there'll be more of an emphasis on attempting to attack the breakdown. It's just like you said, it's how good we are at it. But it's like we've talked about before, like, it's also like the cyclical nature of sport as well. Like, teams are supposed to get to the top and then have to rebuild, because you can't keep everybody forever. And that's what we did. We don't want it to be a 10-year gap like it was before, but it did take us 10 years last time. That's the reality of it. And like I said, we've got the building blocks, and we have to start from scratch, even though we've kept hold of a lot of decent people, a lot of world-class people. But it is, like you said, a squad effort. And like you said, are we where we were last year? No. But we can't really expect to with some of the people that we've lost and the gaps that we've had to plug.
It's a time thing now, isn't it? It's a time getting used to it. Like, 3 of the front 5 were new players, weren't they? The 2 props and one of the locks, and they've got to get used to the ethos and how the club play, how we defend. So I do get what you're saying, but yeah, it's a little bit worrying that we're not as good. But then we didn't start very well last season, did we? To be fair, and then we went on to win the Premiership. So, but I know what you mean. I'm a little bit worried about probably lock and centre for depth, because we had, what's his name? I love him, but he's not like Angus. He's one of the best. Like, he's just Mr. Consistent, but he played lock, didn't he? He's just not got the bulk, which I know Coles will bring in. But
that's the thing, Angus got young. Is one of those players who really does add value to that maul defence. He's someone who sticks his head in the wrong place, and he's willing to do some of the dirty work to make those mauls to get in there and prevent them. And I think, it's one of those ones where Angus got young, someone you desperately want in your side, because of the amount of work he gets through and the bits and bobs that he does that probably goes unrecognised, but it's crucial. But it's also like when you've got Josh Kemeny at 6, who does a lot more of the X Factor stuff, or or Pearson or Pollock or something, it's hard. And I feel a bit bad for Anglo Scott Young being pushed into second row when he's clearly he is a six, isn't he? But they're playing, and not that numbers on your back aren't the end of the world. They don't really matter. It's about playing the game, and when you're on the pitch, your number is almost irrelevant. But he was perfectly fantastic for us at six when he played last season. The fact that he now seems to be covering second row doesn't seem all. It seems a bit harsh, but getting him on the pitch is a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? It's getting as many people on as you can, even if that means moving a few people around. Yeah.
And I get the point you made about the ruck. So obviously, more defences. Hopefully, they can get that sorted. But I think there will be a concerted effort from the team this year to improve the work around the rocks, both in defence in terms of trying to slow down opposition ball and get the likes of Pollock and Pearson over the ball, killing it and slowing it down and hopefully get some turnovers. But I also think one of the main weaknesses we had last year was our sort of vulnerability to be attacked there. Teams targeted us a lot and slowed us down, and it was sort of our kryptonite that if we couldn't get that ball quick and they challenged us there, we struggled. Like Leinster being the key thing, that's how we really struggled against them, is their just ferocity at the breakdown.
Yeah.
In the semi-final, we really struggled with, and so if we can have a focus on that, and meaning that our attacking ruck speed is maintained, it can be the 2 seconds that we want it to be, then that would be amazing for us in terms of actually being able to put our game on the pitch.
Yeah.
Did you not think the line out looked a bit dodgy again? Like the amount of overthrows and
I think it was vastly improved from the week before, because I don't know. I still think Landon is probably the best hooker in the Premiership. He had an off day last weekend and it didn't go well. But then if you're going to have an off day, have it in pre-season. But yeah, it's like you said, we're missing. We've lost some people that were really key. Laws, Coles, Moon. You stick Laws up in the air. Good luck getting the ball off him, because any of them, because they're just so tall, and they're all very good line-out operators, and they're also just huge people to replace. So it may just take a bit of new routines and new people. It just takes a little bit of time to kind of stick.
I think we definitely turned over more line-outs off our own ball than we'd want to, and I think a large amount of the overthrows and stuff obviously happened during the time when Craig White was at 2 at the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
When he's obviously a young man learning his game, and line-out throwing it's a reps game, isn't it? The more you rep it, the better you get. And so I think hopefully that's somewhere he'll develop in. I have less concern I think there was less issues when Landon came on. I think he's a stronger operator there, isn't it? Unfortunately, Robbie Smith pulled out before the game, so that this was what we were having the conversation about last week. The depth of talent at hooker. It's like Landon wasn't playing, so it was Robbie Smith. He pulled out injured, and next thing you know, you got a 20-year-old hooker playing, and our fourth choice hooker was playing for Bedford opposite.
So exactly.
That was the one thing I was looking forward to, Langdon on Langdon. But there must have been the clause saying they weren't allowed to play against each other, because when he went off, Curtis came on. I was just thinking that was going to be a great contest, but they just didn't play against each other.
Yeah, I think it's the thing of like last weekend. Last weekend when Langdon started, I think he was really poor from a line-up perspective. But like I said, it was the opposite last weekend. So it probably is just the case of the first time he's back in a match since. That is, we talked about this last week as well. That is the whole point of pre-season. You get some of those kind of new season nerves kind of out the way, or try and get them out of the way anyway. And that's when you want to have your bad, because like you said, you're still talking about Langdon he perhaps wasn't great in the first half last week, but first preseason game, but was good this time. So you can just have an off day sometimes. If you think about like our away game against Bristol last season, we were awful. I remember looking at that thinking, like, how on earth we ended up champions based on looking at that one before. We were absolutely god awful. So you do just have days where even the best of the best aren't quite firing on all cylinders. Yeah. That's some of the people that we didn't get to see are kind of people that I don't have any. Like Tommy Freeman's going to hit the ground running, you just know it. I can't think of really anyone in the team that I feel like will be fine, more so than Tommy, like getting back into it. And obviously we didn't get to see Alex. And then we have a few injuries for him. I think Henry got injured in training, didn't he? Miller Mills must have got injured last week. So, the inevitable has happened. So and we just don't know about some people's fitness levels because we didn't see them at all.
Yeah. It's not always. I will stand up for being an extra row. It's not always the hooker's fault. Most of the time, it is. It's just they don't lift them at the right time. It's not always their fault, but yeah.
No, sometimes calling the line out, it's as big as a job as throwing it, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
They called it early doors. They called a lot to the tail. And the tail can be an easier throw, right? Because you're not going to get the challenge.
Yeah.
So it can be an easier throw to the tail, but then it also, you are throwing, needing to be accurate over a longer distance, and then it can also be harder.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people go, oh, what is it? When you do a throw over the tail into the midfield, so it goes directly into the midfield, that's actually the easiest throw because you can be less accurate. You don't need to hit, double 20. You can get it in a vicinity, and for the centre can got a bit more movement to it, but they did go a lot. But I think after a while they started calling to two, shortening the options up a bit more just to try and secure that ball a bit easier.
Yeah.
But that can be counterproductive as well, because if you go, right, we'll play it easy every single time, we'll just go up to two or go up to the middle, opposition know that's come in, and then they can put more pressure on those jumpers. So you do need to have a functioning line out. And I think they'll get there. The fact that there's no Alex Coles is enormous loss. I think he adds a lot of value in that area. So when we get him back in, that's when I think we'll be able to get a true idea of where our line out is at the moment.
It's just good. It's just good to see.
Big losses.
It's just good to see the back line. I mean, you've got Finn on, you've got Dingwall on, you've got Ram, Slightham. It's like no time had passed at all. It really does talk to the importance of experience with each other. But I also think that Finn Smith is one of those that he somehow came into the team and just clicked immediately. And that doesn't happen very often. He just came in and it was like he had always been there. You know what I mean? But for the rest of them, they've played together for such a long time that you could just see that kind of ease of communication between them and how easy they found it. They just knew each other were going to be where they needed to be at the right time, and they all looked solid. I mean, I thought Ram looked phenomenal. I thought he looked great. I think he's going to be really pushing to get into that team. I mean, probably not going to be 15 if we're being honest, because you've got the captain there, and so that's going to be just a hard thing. But I mean, I thought you could again, we've mentioned it before, he has a gymnastics background, and it's just there in everything he does. I mean, the height he gets just to jump to get the ball, but at one point he caught the ball and caught it on a turn and just ran, and you could just see the ease of that movement for him because of that kind of background that he has, and he gave it his all in both, and I thought he looked absolutely ready to go.
Yeah, I think Ram's had a really good pre-season. I'd say he's probably the standout performer across the pre-season.
Yeah,
I know Kemeny looked good, etc., but no, for me, I think Ram's been.
Yeah, I felt like Kemeny had a couple of standout moments. I mean, that when he had the ball and that guy got ready to tackle him, and I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well for you. I could just tell it wasn't going to go well, and he just absolutely bulldozed his way past him. But I think in terms of the consistency of performance, I'd say Ram definitely.
Yeah, that when you say that guy, that was Will Glister.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I don't want to highlight it too much because I feel bad for him.
He's played the most minutes as well, though. I think Ram. He's played games like the whole thing.
Oh, across both, yeah.
Yeah. While we were there watching the match, I actually went on the Facebook Live just to rewatch that, just to see who he absolutely poleaxed Kemeny, because I was like, oh, yeah. Absolutely whacked him one. But yeah, it was good to see. The only worry, and I know we have to wrap him up in cotton wool, is if Finn gets a knock. There's a minute. I'm not blaming any other player, but you just see the style of play and the quickness goes the minute Finn Smith went off. So I know we're not playing probably too much while England are away, but yeah, that boy needs to be wrapped up in cotton wool. But so does Ferbs, really, because he's the next. But they'll both be away with England, won't they?
Yeah, I think it's the Gloucester game, isn't it, this year, where we're gonna have a struggle. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I thought Finn was pretty good. I don't think he was at his peak, obviously. There was a few moments where timing wasn't quite right, and there was one moment when he kicked it into the back of Slight Home because they'd overrun
Yeah.
it. And, yeah, there's a few. They had a few words with each other as well. That was just before half time when they weren't best pleased with each other after that. But yeah. I think when they're all on the pitch, I think you said I think Furbank looked pretty sharp. He hit the
Yeah.
blind really well. His ability to punch up and really take a physical, hit a good line at pace, really go through. He's developed that part of his game so well. And I think whilst Finn is obviously needs to be wrapped up in Cornwall, I think Ferbs is such phenomenal player at the moment that he's easily our second choice 10 as well. And the two of them together will be. That's why I'm not worried. Some of the attacking play that we saw that wasn't so good through pre-season, I'm not really worried because I know that when those two are on the pitch and they're feeding the likes of Freeman, Slighthome, Ram, Dingwall, etc., will be all right. So
I think Dingwall has carried on again as he had. I feel like nobody talks about that guy enough because the work rate and the stuff he does, like it's not the flashy stuff, and it's almost unfortunate that the rest of his backline is flashy as hell, to put it kind of bluntly. But it's just a workhorse, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for, because I thought he was incredible last season, and yet we seem to talk about, and that's not our fault or anyone else's fault. I get it, but he's not at all flashy. He just does everything so phenomenally well. He's just always where you need him to be, always creating space, always putting himself in tackles. His work rate around the pitch, I think, is almost second to none.
He's just subtly brilliant, isn't it? That's the thing with Dingwall is it's not that he's just an up and down centre. He is very talented and his skill set's very high, and he often operates as first receiver in that pivot function to create the space for Finn, and he does it so exceptionally well and so technically correct in the timing of the pass, the angles he's running, the movement, the occupying the defender so they're not just drifting off him. He does that brilliantly, and that's the first part of the puzzle to create the overlaps and to create those sways that get that bit right and not go through the motions, carry like you're going to carry.
I feel like it's what makes it difficult for players like Hutch, who obviously was a regular kind of first starter a couple of seasons ago, and he admitted that his season wasn't where he wanted it to be last season, and it was quite up and down, and he wasn't perhaps selected as much as he wanted to be. But it's so hard when Dingwall and Freeman are, I mean, again, we're going to come across as biased, but for me, the best partnership in the Prem. In the centres, like by far.
Yeah.
Like, just with the two of them, like you said, it's like subtle brilliance versus flashy brilliance, but it's all brilliant. And it's so hard to see how Hutch would be anything other than probably a bencher for some of the really big games this year. But I actually thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, and it doesn't help him when you've got the likes of Ram, Slighto, and Furbank almost nailing down their positions as a back three, which means Freeman's going to go to 13 potentially because they're also talented. That like I said, numbers on their back doesn't always matter, and Freeman in the midfield means he's one of our best players, most potent attacking threats, and if you can get him on the ball more often, then all the better. But when you've got Ram and Slighton on the wings, who both bring their own skill sets and their USPs and their different things that they bring to the game, it's all part of the same conversation with Hutchinson, isn't it? Because you could go Hutchinson, Dingwall in the centres and then choose Ram Freeman, Slighto, two of the three. And over the course of the season, you imagine they're all going to get plenty of game time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But when your choice about who's playing in the finals, it's a hard one because they're all so talented.
I think it's a difficult one as well with Freeman, because Freeman is world class he's been world class as a 15, he's been world class as a winger, and he's been world class as a centre. So, like you said, it's with the others pretty much cementing. Like for me, it's easily Ferbs at 15 with Ram and Slighthome. So Freeman will be centre, which I still think is his best position. I think he can play any of them, but I think that's his best position. I think he plays well off of Dingwall as his inside. I think they all play off each other well anyway. But that's for me where I think he should be, at least for Saints. I think internationally it looks like he might feature as a winger more than, and he's still fantastic, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's hard to see how they're anything other than first choice in those positions. But then, like you said, you do have to rotate, and so hopefully Hutch gets a few more chances this season to kind of show. Because I mean, I think some of the things he did last season, he maybe didn't play as much as he wanted, but there were some insane standout moments. I mean, that try to win right at the end against Exeter, we played Exeter away. You think of like that moment being so crucial.
Yeah.
For us being top at the end of the thing, you lose that match, you're not first at the end of the season. He was so critical to so many things that we did. So yeah, just hope that some people get a chance to shine.
There's moments like that for all players though through the year. Like it's at the end of the season, you see that whoever lifts the trophy, and you see the team that starts. But away at Gloucester, Tom Litchfield was crucial. Scoring that try, playing on the wing out of position, came in, did a phenomenal job, scored that phenomenal try. If you don't win away at Gloucester, we probably don't finish top 4.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's a real squad effort when you look at it like that from that point.
And it does feel like all of them slightly pale a bit when you think about Hendy in the final. Who is just the complete man of the moment and just like the hero of everything. But yeah, so
are you guys not worried about centres though? Because you've got Arundel's out for God knows how long. Litchfield's injured. It looks like Hutch is the only backup, and that lad, I can't remember his name, the Aussie guy you mentioned last.
We've also got Tom Seabrook, who I thought was really good last week. Did he feature this week?
He came on at the end, yeah, but he's
a winger.
I wouldn't say he's a centre, but like I say, Dinger.
He plays. He does. He has played 12 a few times before, from what I can recall.
I think he's played 13. I think not that but I think he played. I am worried. You're right. It's a clear area of weakness in the squad where, you could look at Dingle and Freeman and go world class. Right, we have a world class centre partnership, and then you go Hutchinson, where we've got an international player who's competing. Yeah. So you've got 3 internationals competing for 2 spots. Phenomenal. But then you go, what was if one of them gets knocked? Who's the backup without Odendale and it's Tuvaka, is it? Tuvaka is the guy we've got on the trial. I'm not sure we've seen enough of him to form much of an opinion. I mean, Furbank could play at 12.
I think a few of them can dot about. To be honest with you, I think it's such a versatile backline that I think a few of them can go and do a really good job of it. I think that's the reality of it. But I can see where you guys are coming. I suppose, I mean, Odendale I think looks like a fairly long termer, so I think we can pretty much count him out. I don't know what Litchfield's injury is, or if it's significant or not.
If we had Litchfield fit, I don't, that's why you don't know where he is. If he's just coming back and he'll be fine for the next couple of weeks, then I'm not remotely worried, because I think we've got 4 quality centres then, which should be enough. But if you're going to try and go the whole season with only 3, it's a big ask. I fully agree. That's exactly right.
It's why I'm just making the assumption that Litchfield's isn't as bad, because when Odendale's was bad, we all knew it was bad, and it had been designated long term, and I don't know if any of the others had. So yeah, like I said, it really depends where they don't give out that kind of information. I mean, Odendale's we all knew because it was pretty obvious what he did at the time he did it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. I'm not trying to be like poo-pooing the season already, but it's just the fact that centre's such a specialist position as well. It's not you couldn't just slide a winger in there and expect them, like Dingers. Like you were talking about Dingers, he doesn't get the credit where credit's due, but he is world class. But being a 12, a lot of stuff doesn't get noticed. It's because they pass out to the wingers, and then the wingers go and do all the work and score the tries. But he's just amazing. Without him in the side, we're not the team we are. He's, in my opinion, he's probably first on the team sheet most weeks, because he's a leader as well. You just see it, same as Phillips. And it's basically, I'm just a little worried, not saying that when all the lads are fit, fine. But with Litchfield injured, Arundel injured, we've only Hutch's backup. If one gets a knock at Bath or something, we're in trouble, I think. In centre, that is. That's all
I think the thing is, though, as well, is that, like, the season's a hell of a long game. It's like they talk about, marathon, not a sprint. Like, obviously, you want to start off on the right foot. But, if Litchfield, for example, it takes a couple of games before he's available and something else happens to, you just have to roll with that. like to put it kind of simply, like yes, I can see. Yes, it's a worry. I can see why people would worry about it, but this happens to all teams. We're not an exception, and you just have to play what you can. And I still think there's plenty of talent in there and people that will certainly be raring for the opportunity to give it a go. And I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, I think we're lucky that we've got two players in Dingwall and Hutchinson who can play that role for us.
Yeah.
You know, and if you know they were the two, as long as we've got one of those, I feel like someone else could cover the other centre role for us. I think we're actually quite. It does seem like we've only got three centres. It feels a bit tight, but I would also could say like we're probably quite fortunate to have two players as good as that who can do that role for us. There probably aren't. You know, if we had Dingwall as our only real ball playing 12, and then he get injured and we have got to change our whole way, it'll drop our standard of play dramatically because we haven't got someone else who can perform that role for us. Then I would be really worried. But I think having two is almost a luxury anyway.
Yeah.
Having two players of that ilk and that talent is a fortunate place to be. And Seabrook's a winger. I think he could step in and play 13 for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we lose one of them, I think we are on the skeleton crew.
Like you said about what's his name? Is it Venicuna or whatever his name was? Yeah, he did actually look like he's a pretty big lad, and he made a few hits towards the end. But maybe that's why they've had to bring him in because Orendal is.
Oh, they did. I think some kind of presser had gone out that we were looking for someone fairly urgently at the time because they knew that Odendal was practically gone for the season, pretty much. Obviously, like he's walking around, so I don't know. But I also know that rehabbing that kind of injury takes longer than it looks like it would, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think we can count him pretty much out.
Yeah, it's just like it's when you're a championship winning team, and I'm not being greedy. You would really want quality as backup as well. I know it's hard because players want to play, but it's just I don't want us to tempt fate. But like we were saying, if one gets hit or not, if Dingers gets injured, I just think we're in the centre, we're struggling. And that's your main point of defence. That's where everybody attacks. So it's a hard place to play. You are literally tackling after tackling. It just takes one little knock on the shoulder or something. But yeah, I know Dowse knows what he's doing and he's leading us and we're champions. But it's just a little worry, only a little bit.
No, I think it's a fair worry. It's a very, like you said, it's in a very attritional position, and you're not gonna survive with three centres for a season. But like I said, I'm looking at it at glass half full. We're actually fortunate to have the quality that we do have. It's sort of quality over quantity to some extent at the moment. But if Litchfield's back and firing, I'm not really worried at all, to be honest. But anyway, let's look ahead to Bath then. What are we thinking team wise?
I mean, I'm not even going to try to predict, to be honest, because it isn't just about. I don't want to be wrong. It's more about it's too many unknowns going into the first. Lots of stuff that we simply don't know. That they will know and they'll have more of an idea, but we just don't. So I wouldn't even want to guess as to who is going to start and who's going to be ready to start because I just don't know if we know. But I do know from what I can tell that Mitchell and Freeman. Well, Freeman I know is not injured. He just said it was number of minutes. I think Alex said they were nursing something, but it's not considered to be serious. So you've got to assume that if those guys are all right, then your 9 to 15 is pretty much nailed down. And that's assuming that they want to go full strength. We had this discussion, I'm not going to rehash all of what we did last week because we did it in quite a lot of detail last week. But yeah, I find it would be easier to predict once we're past the first week, if that makes sense, because we'll have a bit more of an understanding of actually where everyone is. Like people that we haven't seen, people that we have seen.
I don't think as Mitch and Tommy haven't played at all. I don't see. I'm going to have to go in the Charles thing. I don't think they'll start against Bath. I don't think they'll put them in straight away. They're just not going to be. So I think they'll be on the bench. Which
they may not with Alex, especially if Alex is nursing something. But like I said earlier, I feel like Froome is one of those that can hit the ground running and would still be fine. So they may well, they may not. I mean, like I said,
With
with
that,
Tom
you know,
Tom James
based
Tom
on
Tom James looked all right as
pre-season,
well. So
yeah, go just first on Tommy, right? Going on pre-season, so for Tommy to play, that's likely that either Hutchinson, Ram, or Slytone has to not play. And I'm going to say that they're going to play. I reckon Hutchinson will play because he's played a lot of minutes in pre-season.
Yep, I agree.
Furbank will play because he's captain.
and he played in preseason.
And he played in pre-season. Slytone and Ram. I mean, Ram's definitely playing. Ram's been our best player in pre-season. So it's almost Freeman or Slytone, but Slytone's got the minutes.
Yeah, I'd say it's a Freeman or Hutch question.
Yeah, I think Hutchinson's who's played some minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that'd be wrong. I'm not saying that'd be wrong. Like, it just depends how Freeman is feeling and how the club is feeling. Like, if he's feeling like he's ready to go, they may just be like, all right. But I also see the value of him doing 40 and probably the second 40 if he's going to only do 40. So yeah, no, I do. And like I said, and Hutchison really has been fantastic, like such a fantastic player over the past few seasons. Like, that, yeah, you certainly could start with him. But I'd be very, very surprised if we didn't see Ram, Slightholme, Furbank, and Dingwall. And then Finn. And then I think 9 is also a question. I think if it was me, probably start with Tom James because he got a bit of pre-season time. And as you said, Alex may or may not be sure. They intimated that they were managing something that wasn't overly serious. But he also said had no minutes. So I'd probably start James if it was me, personally. But I'm also not in charge, so who knows?
Yeah, did Big Trev? I don't think Big Trev came on, did he, against Bedford?
No, he wasn't in the squad. They pulled out. So,
did he play out as well? So he was warming up. He was warming up.
Yeah, well, he wasn't.
He was warming up. Yeah,
he wasn't on the squad list in the end. So he obviously, maybe they're managing something. But I think he'll be on the bench. I think James will start and Mitchell will be on the bench. I think for the forwards, Pearson obviously didn't play.
No idea.
I think Kemeny is 100% playing. I think Curtis Langdon is 100% playing. I think Graham will play at 8.
We didn't see Augustus. So Augustus.
He was on the injured list as well, or the unavailable list.
So I think you're pretty much like, so it will be Graham, and then
Big Trev will play.
Yeah, and then I don't.
If Coles
Assuming that Big Trevor's fit, if he pulled out right before, then there's something going on there.
No, he played
because he was definitely
He played in Bedford. He played against Bedford. Big Trev.
Right.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Came on.
That's why I asked.
So who was it? That's what he asked. Yeah. So who was it that you said pulled out?
Oh, I thought Mitchell. I thought you were talking about Mitchell. Sorry.
No. He said Big Trev.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was thinking that we'd seen him that day, but then I thought maybe I'm.
No, sorry. Crosshair. Sorry. Yeah. No, Big Trev played. I think he'll definitely play.
Yeah.
If he played, that's fine. I didn't think he came on.
I think really with the scrum, you can't really afford. I don't want to say to go weak because that's not really what I mean. But I feel like you've got to start Manny, you've got to start Curtis, and you've got to start Big Trev.
I think if Manny's fit, he plays.
Assuming, like I said, that's so many of the question marks there, really.
I think
then
your first choice front row is Aogan, Landon, Davison, and then I think on the bench, based on understanding where people are fitness-wise, injury-wise, you've probably got Tarek Kafar as the loose head cover. You've probably got, or it might be Tom West. Tom West actually had a pretty good pre-season. I think they might go with West.
I'd pick West.
And then you've got Luke Green, would be the tired. He went all right during pre-season.
Yeah, they both did, yeah.
And then, it depends on Hook. If Robbie Smith's not available, it'll be Craig Wright, and it will be a bit of a step up for him. But I'm sure he can deliver. Second row is anyone's name at the moment. Like if Coles hasn't played a minute, he must be coming. Must not be back yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that might be minutes as well, right?
Might be, yeah.
In terms of like domestic and international together, maybe. But
he didn't play much for England though, did he? I don't think he played at all, did he?
No, I think he did come on.
He did come on, definitely. Yeah, no, he definitely featured, but not.
He hadn't played as much as Freeman. No way.
No.
Oh God, no.
Freeman has played the third most minutes of any player in the Premiership last year.
Yeah. But then, like you said, assuming that they're not going to start people that haven't had any minutes, you're factor in like and assuming Coles is not as injured, then he's probably going to feature on the bench.
Yeah, so you're looking at Chungamunga maybe probably starting.
Probably, yeah. He got some game time, didn't he?
But then he didn't play against Bedford. He wasn't even in the squad, was he?
No. So whether they were just wrapping him up for the don't know.
And that may be just
Hunter
that
Hill
he
was
got
probably going to play.
Probably that he got some good Munga got some good time the week before, and maybe they knew what was going on, so it was a case of right, that's all he's getting because we can't afford to. And if that is the case, then I say he's pretty much a nailed on starter if that's why they've done that.
Hunter Hill definitely started. He played both games. He looked pretty decent. He's a
he got some good minutes under his belt.
He's definitely starting.
So you've probably got him and Chungamunga potentially as your
most likely.
That's the biggest change in the side for me by such a distance, you know.
Yeah.
Like someone who you couldn't get in our team last year and someone who couldn't get in Saracens' team they're now our first choice going into the season. Not to knock them, obviously, but it's the biggest area whereby we were a powerhouse last year in those positions with Coles and Moon. It's an area where we've got a lot. There's a big opportunity for someone to step up.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of where Pearson is. Pearson's injured, or it might be a debut for Pollock.
I think the back row.
I mean, Pollock got some good minutes under his belt, didn't he? He must have got not far off of an hour altogether. So
yeah,
he did 20 minutes.
He played last year again in the
So he's probably not too far. So I say 6 is probably Kemeny, and then probably Pollock, and then 8 is assuming that maybe Augustus is injured. Then obviously you're going to start with Graham, and then it's whoever the backup is. I mean, Finn Brown played over the weekend.
He looked good.
He looked all right. Yeah.
I just thought it was strange. I thought it was strange that they had Pollock at 6 and Kemeny at 7 because Kemeny always plays 6. Well, from what I've seen.
But then I suppose so was Pollock. So it's
Pollock's
a 7, really. Yeah. So
I don't know why they did that, unless it was
it's a bit weird.
It might have been something like that. That was the size shirts they had. It could be anything, but you're right. Like Kemeny's an out-and-out 6 and Pollock's an out-and-out 7.
Yeah.
It might have been they don't want to put the pressure on Pollock to put him down as a 7. I don't know. It could be
play 7. Did he play 7 at the under?
Yeah.
20s
he's
or
7. He's I've only ever seen him in a 7 shirt. I've never seen him.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he.
Maybe they'll swap them back where they should be.
Pearson, I think Pearson was just resting because he played most of the game against Leinster, didn't he? He was the best player on the pitch for us.
So
that's probably potentially the same as Munga. Maybe of like, we're going to need you in week 1, just because of what has happened to perhaps some of the others, or the fact that, like you said, that like Coles probably won't start just simply because he has no minutes, and so we're going to need someone that does, and so we're not going to risk it.
Yeah, exactly, and
which probably does lead a bit more credence to him starting, to be honest.
But then that sounds really, really exciting. A back row of Kemeny, Pearson, and Graham.
Yeah,
we've had world class back rows, right? So it's different, but it's a different, new, bit of excitement there because Pearson and Kemeny, I think, are 2 players with such huge potential to be fantastic for us, and they're both big blokes who carry really well, put themselves around, got some. They put some good shots in. They're both good line-out options. They get over the ball. With Graham supporting them, it's really, really exciting back row that could grow as the year goes on. They're not going to start with the fireworks as the names when you've got a back row of Augustus, Ludlam, and Laws. People see that and go, "Wow, that's amazing." But they might not start with that. But by the end of the season, people might be realising, hang on, these 3 lads are absolute class act,
Oh, I don't know. I think Pearson's one of them. He was he was one of the best signings we've made, and he's a shame for his injuries. He would have been up for one of the players of the season because that boy is just immense. His engine, but the dynamism is totally different at the back row, like you said. But I'm excited to see Kemeny play in the Prem. He's a big boy as well. I met him after the game. He's absolutely huge. And I am a little bit worried just because of the pack in the Premiership is just the weight. There's no real big weight in that scrum in the back 5. Chungamunga's quite big, but you got to think you're losing Moon. Moon was a big boy, and like Augustus is massive, and he's quick with it. So hopefully it's just going to be a sort of Kiwi style scrum where we just set, boom, get it out, go. Because we're not push. I don't think we're pushing anybody over.
No, I think Moon. Look, you're right. Moon was an enormous loss. I think Big Trev's a really good tight end. He's a different maker when he's in that side. But when we had him and Moon, and that tight head side was pretty significant. And I
think it's difficult. It is difficult that when, like you said, the people that we're replacing some people, literally some of the biggest and tallest people around, and sometimes you just someone that's that same kind of size just is not available, right? I remember a few seasons back, and it's a kind of a testament to how much Courtney wanted to keep improving. But like, if literally 2 seasons or so before he left, he put on 2 stone of pure muscle, just because. And I was like, as if that guy isn't scary and big enough, you know what I mean? So, you are just losing some people that were kind of almost in a way kind of outliers, and kind of, especially in the Prem, in terms of like the size that they carried. And so the expectancy that we're going to be able to completely like for like, I mean, you can't like for like replace Courtney anyway. It's just not physically possible. And like I said, Moon was just ridiculously big, ridiculously tall, and they don't come around that often.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. I think we're going to have to just sort of hope that the recruitment has been, because a lot of the obvious recruitment's been really good. Kemeny has been clearly cherry picked for a certain aspect.
Yeah,
that comes in. He's phenomenal in those wide channels and attack. He's a line out option. Like, you can see the things that he brings, but it's very hard to from afar to see someone like Callum Hunter-Hill and know if he's going to come in and do the grunt work that Moon would do. But we'll find out, won't we? Over the next few matches, we are going to find out, and that's the interesting thing about watching clubs. It's not about just the winning or losing; it's the story that unfolds in front of you, and that's going to be one of definitely the big stories. I think in the early part of the season is where we are on that point of view, and what someone like Callum Hunter-Hill is going to bring to the table. But yeah, it should be fascinating. Are we going to do a prediction?
I was down just 2 seconds. I was just looking up the players. I just Callum Hunter-Hill's 116 kgs, and Coles is 107. So he's quite a bit of a chunk. I
don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not a kg gal. I don't even have any idea what that correlates to.
No, but I was just saying that Alex Coles is like 9 kilograms lighter.
Yeah.
Hunter-Hill. So, and he's a big lad. So maybe just the look of it, I suppose.
But Coles has never been like he's never been a big physical lot. Like, he's like we said a lot last year about the ability of him to step up in the centres and make breaks and offloads, and he covers a lot of distance for a second row. But phenomenal support play for a second row. But they don't do that. That's not what they do. But he does.
I was trying to find Mooney, but bless him, they've literally just wiped him up because obviously he's gone. So
they do just get.
He's 123, so he's obviously 7 kg lighter than him. So it's not too bad. That's a lot. It's a lot when you compare it across 8.
Yeah. It just shows you the outlier that Moon was. Right? It's the size of the man. They don't make them that. He was in the same bracket, maybe a little bit lighter than like a Will Skelton. And and there just aren't many of those human beings on the planet.
No, 6'7" and 19 stone 5 pounds. That's what he was. So Carry on with predictions, go.
Go on, Simon. What are you predicting?
I'm not going first.
I mean, I honestly, there's like no barometer to go from. There's literally nothing. Like, because especially us, like, we're perhaps not as settled as we were last season, whereas Bath, from what I can tell, and I really should start paying more attention to but they seem like the squad that they've got is fairly similar, if not practically similar. I don't think they've really gone through too much. And they were almost champions, to put it kind of bluntly, could have won that game, almost did win that game. So they're going to be ready to go. So I don't know, but I've always got to go for a Saints win, and I've got to assume that we're going to score some tries because it's what we're good at. I'm going to go 24-21 to us.
Okay, interesting. I think I
And
think
we're probably all going to be wildly wrong.
I think the thing to remember though, like, so we've obviously been, we've been scrutinising Saints, we've been looking at them, getting an idea through pre-season, we've got our concerns and whatnot. But the thing to remember is Bath are in exactly the same pot that we're in. Absolutely the same. They've got the internationals, they're coming back through pre-season, so it's as much a guess for them as it is for us. And I don't, therefore, it's not going to be a complete game of rugby. Both teams are starting the season, and they're going to ease easing their way in. I think we'll go there with a real game plan to keep it tight for 60 minutes, and then unleash Freeman and Mitchell, etc., from the bench. And I think your score is pretty good idea. I mean, I'm not going to say that we're not going to win because I'm just not. But I think we might struggle. But I'll go very similar, and I'll say 25-28. Because
so a 3-point swing like mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'm going to predict a Saints win, which I'm going to do, even though we're probably not going to win, I'm going to predict. I'm going to go with it. That's what it's going to be, isn't it? It's not going to be a big score either way. I think hopefully we go down there with a game plan of keeping things tight, nicking it at the end.
Okay. I'll go 19-21, but I've got a really bad feeling that this is not going to be a very welcome.
It's weird though. It's like I wouldn't say I have a bad feeling just because, like, historically going to Bath and getting a win for any team is insanely hard. It's not done very often. And I also think back to last season, we went to Sale away and we couldn't quite get the win there. And it didn't, it doesn't necessarily set up the season per se, because you just don't know what's going to happen across. But Bath is notoriously difficult to get a win at. Like, that's just like a fact, really.
Yeah.
And we haven't done it, we didn't do it last year. We didn't do it last year, and it didn't, so. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think we could. There is always a chance. I think if we go down there, if Bath are there and they're trying to put their complete game on the pitch, and they're trying to play open game and play the way they want to play as a club going forward, right? There's a lot of moving parts to try and put into the game at once. The first game of the season. If we go down there with a much more simple approach of we're just going to keep it really tight and really limited game for 60 minutes and then up the pace for the last 20, it might galvanise them a bit, and it might give them a bit more be able to focus on a single thing, which then gets them over the line, as opposed to trying to put all the components together at once in one go. Build from the beginning. And I know we'd love to have a home game at the start of the season because we always seem to be away. I don't actually mind from a rugby point of view having an away game, because it's a bit of it's almost an extension to pre-season. It's a bit of a hit out. To lose at home first wouldn't be so great. But away, it's almost a shot at nothing. So
it was mentioned, wasn't it, in the SCG group that by Tim, that we always seem to have an away game at the start, away game at the end. We've got the same again, which is really, really annoying. But I'm just checking.
You do make a point about that. Sometimes it is nicer to have maybe an away fixture first, but at the same time, it just feels a bit like, as champions, I feel like you earn the right to kick off your season at home. Yeah. I'm not really sure why they've decided. And not only have they decided not to do that, but they've also decided to put us up. Like, for me, it should be us versus Bath, but it should definitely be at our place to kick off the season. I think that should be part of winning, that you earn the right to start your season as champions at your own home. But
I totally agree. I'm just checking out Bath. I don't know if either of you have. They lost 2 of their 3 pre-season friendlies. So
one of them was to Ealing, right? And Ealing posted on like social media like a special day for the club. Ealing have beaten Bath. I mean, it's pre-season, right? This is the reason why clubs get a bad rep, because they beat Bath in a pre-season, make out like they've won the league,
But that was because Bath played on the day before against Cardiff. So I'm guessing the bigger team went against Cardiff, and then they put a string out against Ealing. They played 2 days in a row, so I'm guessing
pre-season, and Ealing are calling it a momentous moment in the history of their club. It's just,
they beat us in the cup.
Yeah. But anyway,
So
Anyway,
we'll see how it
as
We
last
shall-
week, we've chatted everyone's ears off again.
Yeah, we shall see. But thanks very much, everyone, for listening once again. We'll see how we get at the go on against Bath on Friday night. It should be another fantastic season ahead. So it's a goodbye from me, Charles McGilvray. It's a goodbye from Jess Kebble and Simon
Bye.
Stacey.
Goodbye.